Well, I got my stove lit. Here's all the matches that I wasted. Well, one of them, we'll take one of them out because one of them worked. So we'll set that one to the side. We'll say that's the one that worked. Here's all the ones that didn't work. Yeah, because they broke or they just wouldn't light, or they lit but then they wouldn't stay lit. So how many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. So I had to strike 9 matches before I got one that worked, because the 9th one actually did work. Anyway, I'm heating up my beefaroni, but yeah. So that means basically, for one instance of lighting my stove, I have to waste 8 matches in order to get one that will, and then the one will work. So, yeah. Yeah, things aren't made very well. That's the thing that gets to me, you know. I mean, I think that people who own companies who produce things, you know, they should be paid for their wares. I don't want anything for free. I think it's perfectly reasonable that the people who produce this stuff should be paid for it. I think that the people who sell the stuff should be paid for it, and so on. No problem at all. But, you know, matches are supposed to be for starting fires. So I think that, with the odd exception, because no matter how good you are at something, you're going to produce the odd dud. But I think that with the odd exception, I think that matches that don't work should be the exception as opposed to the rule. But when 8 out of 9 matches doesn't work, well, what that tells me is that I'm getting royally screwed, basically. Because it should be the opposite, really. In fact, it should be maybe 2 out of 100 matches doesn't work. And I'm sure if you went back far enough, that would be the case. You know, if you could get an old box of matches that was made 50 years ago or 80 years ago or whatever, and strike them, and you struck every one of them, and you added up, say a box of 100 matches, and you added up all, and you actually put the ones that didn't work aside, you'd find that maybe there were 2 out of the box that didn't work out of 100. You know, whereas now, out of a box of 100, well, what, like 80 of them wouldn't work, you know, basically, or something, or 70 of them, or something like that. I'm not very good with math, but basically, the majority of them won't work. Like, if you want, say, 20 working matches, then you have to buy a box of 100, if you want to be sure of having 20 that will work, which is kind of crazy, really. But that's how it is with everything these days, and I find it very frustrating anyway. But, you know, matches are supposed to be for starting fires. If I was buying a box of breaking sticks that don't light on fire when you strike them, if that's what they were advertised as just sticks that break and don't catch fire, well, then I wouldn't feel ripped off. In fact, I'd feel ripped off when the odd one did catch fire, because I'd be saying, wait a minute, these things aren't supposed to do that. But anyway, that's a good rant from me anyway about matches. Like I say, it isn't just matches, it's pretty much everything. And that's it. But there's a beautiful view of the barn. I do have a nice view from out here while I'm cooking my grub. And so that kind of takes the sting out of my match situation. Oh, pardon me. Anyway, I think this is heated up now, so I'll take it inside and I'll transfer it from the pot into a bowl, and I'll put Parmesan cheese on it, and then I'll transfer it from the bowl into my stomach. And where it'll go after that isn't worth talking about, so we won't even go there. Alright, as you all know what comes after it goes into the stomach. Anyway, enough of that talk. It's time to eat. Hope you're all having a good evening. Talk to you later.